Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Readiness for AI, a workshop for New York City executives driving change. We will explore the incredible world of artificial intelligence, responsibly, of course. My name is Taz Khan and I'm with First Light Cloud Exchange, and I'll be your moderator this evening. Or as Skynet might call me, the human is still in charge for now. A quick intro on First Light Cloud Exchange. So I'm very proud to say that FCX has been at the forefront of IT, cloud, cybersecurity, and telecom consulting and implementation space in New York City and beyond for the last 25 or so years. We have a portfolio of more than 500 vendors, partners, managed service providers, managed security service providers that can provide all things tech a business of any size can need. Before we dive in, I want to assure everyone that our event has taken the proper safety precautions. The T800s have been powered down. The TXs have been firewalled. And yes, we have disabled time travel access for the day. But for the T850s, that's the one we are actually rooting for. Smarter, stronger, more reliable, and just self-aware enough to be helpful, not hostile. Now, let me give you a quick refresher on T-Series in case you're not familiar with all the Ts. T-800 is Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first Terminator movie. Bad guy. He's out there to get you and he's going to get you and kill you. Second one, T-1000 was the guy with the blade. His hand turns to blade, really bad news. And TX is the Terminatrix. Really bad news. If she's after you, you're dead. Right? But the T-850 is Schwarzenegger in the second movie and all the other subsequent Terminator movies where he's a good guy. He's helping us out. He's thus helping humanity. So now that you're all up to date on the Terminator, listen, if we're going in that direction, if we're going to have, robots, might as well have the good ones, right? The 850s who's going to help us out, who's going to work with us, not trying to terminate us. Anyway, all jokes aside, AI is transforming how we live, work, and think, from predictive tools and creative assistants to innovations that reshape entire industries. Today, we'll hear from brilliant minds who are pushing this technology forward, ethically, intelligently, and maybe just a little less dramatically than Skynet did. So sit back, stay curious, and let's dive into a conversation about AI that's more a helpful assistant than Rise of the Machines. The first session will be conducted by Mr. Steve Sally. But before I introduce him, let me tell you a little bit about him. When it comes to AI, the technology itself is only part of the equation. Successful implementation requires solving real problems, taking a crawl, walk, run approach, ensuring AI integrates with existing systems and can draw from clean high quality data, and most importantly, fostering leadership and cultural adaptation. While FCX can help you prepare for the first three steps, it's that fourth step, leadership and culture, that often proves to be the biggest hurdle. That's why we have organized this workshop today, and I'm thrilled that Steve has agreed to join and speak. Steve Sally is the founder and CEO of Wildfire Strategies. Steve brings over 20 years of experience in organizational change, leadership development, and culture transformation. His firm specializes in coaching, culture change programs, and leadership retreats for high-stake industries. Steve has worked with leaders and teams in healthcare, law, finance, nonprofits, and more, helping them overcome divisions, build relationships, and strengthen engagement. His coaching style is rooted in emotional intelligence and practical exploration, helping clients design their desired state and build the structure necessary to achieve it. Steve's expertise is exactly what we need to tackle the cultural and leadership challenges that often derail AI initiatives. And after Steve's workshop, we'll dive even deeper into today's topic with a distinguished panel of experts. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Steve Sally. Steve, the stage is yours. Sure. I think it's best to align ourselves with it and adapt to that technology and use it in our advantage. But it's very true that uh, if your entire team is not on board, adoption doesn't take place. It's a mess. And I can speak from experience, having been in this space for over 20 years, many customers, many places where we have implemented new technology. The whole team didn't, if they were not on board, it failed. And so thanks for taking us into the belly of the beast and showing that there are 29 different personalities and you have to get all of them on board for success. Otherwise the team will not succeed. So thank you very much, Steve, once more. Excuse me. Now we transition into our panel discussion. I'd like to invite our esteemed panelists to take their seats as I introduce them. First, we have Karen Humphrey-Salick. Karen is the CEO and co-founder of Contacts 411. Karen leads the first privacy-centric contact updating and enrichment platform tailored for small businesses and nonprofits. With over 35 years of experience in marketing, CRM, and customer-centric strategies, she has guided renowned brands like Fresh Direct, Burberry, Gucci, and Saks Fifth Avenue. Great. Among many others on their journeys towards customer centricity. Next, we have Jacqueline Cournoyer, founder of she's the founder of Mira Agency LLC. Jacqueline specializes in streamlining processes and implementing scalable solutions for early stage growth companies. Her expertise in operations consulting and leveraging AI to create efficient systems has made her NYC MWBE certified agency a trusted resource for growing businesses and new initiatives. Our third panelist is Lee Gall. Welcome, Lee. Lee is the founder of Long Horizon AI. Lee is a thought leader in the AI space, guiding enterprise clients through the complexities of artificial intelligence. He's a sought-after speaker, financial news commentator, and a writer, with a focus on the practical applications and strategic challenges of generative AI. Beyond tech, Lee is a passionate advocate for literacy and was featured in the Peabody Award-winning podcast Sold a Story.
I brought my own microphone. It's not on, but
the microphones are not on, I think.
You have to press the MIC.
okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
All right, very good.
that's on.
Finally, we have Will Krebs. Will, welcome. Will is the CEO of Aspenware, a leading provider of e-commerce and guest experience technology for ski resorts worldwide. With over 20 years of experience in consumer-facing technology, Will has held leadership roles at companies like Rodo, PlayStation, and IAC, is it? IAC. A passionate skier, Will combines his love for the sport with his professional expertise to drive innovation in the ski resort industry. Please join me once more in welcoming this incredible panel. So let's dive into the discussion. Now, just a quick housekeeping. There will be 2 questions for each panelist, and you have about 2.5 minutes per response, okay? Let's go to Lee first. What is AI good for?
Nothing. Next question.
Oh,
It really depends on your business. I think the way that I've tried to frame AI is to try and flip it around. So I feel like we hear a lot of talk about use AI, but make sure there's a human in the loop, which means there's a human watching over what it's doing. First of all, AI is not at that point right now. It's not capable enough to just let it on its own and check in on it once in a while. It's just not. The technology, the architecture, it's unreliable, it's brittle. AI in the loop is the way that you should think about those things. So what are the things at your organization that could be easily made to be more efficient by doing some AI powered automation that helps you in your output and efficiency. So AI in the loop is really the way to think about it. This is what I'm trying to get people to adopt as a term instead of human in the loop, because human in the loop is like, hey, now the AI is doing the job, but we're going to keep you looped in case it needs your help. That's not the way we should think about it. We should think about AI in the loop and think about what your organization's real needs are and the things that AI is good at: summarizing, sentiment analysis, some light data analysis. Don't live and die by its ability to do math because it's not great at that. You need to understand where it can add value and then allow it to help you. But there's no AI workforce out there today. There won't be for a while. So think about incorporating it into workflow as opposed to offloading whole departments and processes on it, because you're going to fail.
This is not your question number 2. It's just my personal question. What do you think? It's a shot in the dark. Do you think we can maintain human supremacy over AI at least for the next 50 years?
I mean, we need each other.
Yeah. Well, ASI is a different story, but let's not get off track. Right. Second question for you. What is the latest news or development around AI?
Yeah, I would say maybe the most recent developments are, unsurprisingly, that we actually have hit a bit of a capabilities wall with AI, which is why when GPT-5 came out, the model that everyone was waiting for, that was going to change the world, that it really did. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is it's the architecture, the transformer. It's going to get us only so far. And the truth is that these lab builders, so your OpenAI, your Google, your Anthropics of the world, they only made it so far in scaling with data and compute. And so actually when OpenAI released GPT 4.5, that was really supposed to be GPT-5, but the results were not great. So what you're seeing now is more focus on things like reasoning, things like the model router for OpenAI, which essentially is like, look, GPT-5 isn't actually this brand new powerful model. It's actually a smart dynamic router that will go based on the prompt that I'm getting. I'm going to output the completion using this model in the background. I'm going to call it all GPT-5, but really, they've had to kind of pivot. So capabilities wise, things seem like they're moving so fast, and we always hear AI is developing so quickly. It's really not. We're really just juicing the most that we can out of like human curated data and fine tuning and sort of training it on different examples. What people need to sort of dial in on is what these models are kind of magical at, which is, you set up a RAG system, which can use your data as its grounding. You're an organization that can go in and go, look, let's, say we're an Azure shop or we're a Google Cloud shop or, whatever. Let's hook in some AI systems to be able to go in and quickly query a chatbot and go, look, we need this kind of data, we need that kind of data. Some incredible capabilities around that. Agents, we don't have those. Agents won't happen for years. What we have is AI-powered assistants and workflows. And if your organization can really benefit from that, you should pour some resources into that. But you need to have some real internal sort of, come to Jesus moments to realize, hey, do we need to use AI for this when we could use another great tool that's not an AI system? So that's where the rubber meets the road. All I hear is people going, what can you use AI for? And I'm like, well, you can get a consultation from me. I'll tell you all about that. But that's not the kind of info that I have free, because that's what everyone's asking.
And please reach out to Lee for that consultation. He will guide you in the right direction. Thank you, Lee. Will, the next question goes to you. Have you implemented an AI policy? And if so, what are your experiences?
I have implemented an AI policy at our company, and AI policy, I believe, is at its core data protection policy, because what you don't want is for your employees who are going to be using AI, whether you like it or not, to be leaking your company's confidential information back into these models. And the reason why traditional data protection policy doesn't work for AI is because traditional data protection policies sort of are formed around systems that you can control end to end, whereas AI technologies, they learn from the information you put back into them. AI learns from the information you give it. AI can retain the prompts that you provide, and AI is often housed within third-party applications, and people don't even know they're using it. And so that's why we implemented an AI policy. I think the
And you
different
put all the guardrails in place.
yes, put the guardrails in place, but I think guardrails is a good way of putting it, because when you think about your typical menu of corporate policies, the traditional ones like, conflict of interest policy or anti-discrimination policy or drug-free workplace policy, these tend to be fairly sort of unidirectional policies. They're pretty black and white, meaning if you are an employee and you have breached the company's anti-harassment policy, it's probably not going to end well for you, right? Whereas we talked a little bit, or Steve talked a bit about leniency, and I do believe that there is place for leniency in an AI policy. And the reason why I think that is because I think you have to assume good intent from your employees when they are deploying AI. They are using it to be more efficient, more productive, better at their jobs. And so if they are using an AI tool that hasn't been that hasn't been allowed or permitted under your policy, I think they're probably doing it for the best intentions, and it's incumbent upon you as the employer to shape your policy in response and allow your employees to use that technology in a productive way, rather than just to sort of scold them for it and admonish them for it.
If I may, isn't the whole idea is to remove discretion, liberal way of, I don't mean it to be political, but liberal way of thinking from AI. AI looks at the fact and makes a decision.
I think the difference between an AI policy and many other policies is whether your employees are using AI. They just are.
Sure, yeah.
And to pretend that you can control that behavior and prohibit it, I think is profoundly unrealistic.
No, let's go back to your example that somebody did bad knowingly.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that AI should have some discretion of letting it go. Did I understand you correctly?
What I'm saying is that if somebody used AI intentionally, knowing that they shouldn't, they're probably using it to be better at their jobs, and rather than for nefarious purposes,
right?
Or rather than in a way that is contrary to the kind of mission of your company. That's what I'm saying, which is I think in an AI policy, you should assume good intent more than you should with many other policies, such as, anti-harassment policy or discrimination policy or conflict of interest policy or something.
Got it. Thank you. Karen, what about data accuracy?
Well, actually, Will brought up something really important, which is the fact that AI learns from the data we put in. And Taz, you actually said fact. Well, fact is objective, right? Fact is objective. We're putting facts in. If you're putting AI is like the concept from years ago with databases, 35 years ago when we started building databases, garbage in, garbage out. Well, AI is like that on steroids. So if you are not putting in facts, it's learning, not facts. So dealing with messy data is a real issue. And there are areas where data and data analytics, AI is really strong at, as long as the quality of the data that has gone in has been vetted by a human for its accuracy, for its use, for its efficacy. If it's not, you can end up with really misinterpreted facts, misinterpreted interpretations. Real misinterpretations on the side of the AI. And one area that I'm particularly concerned about is actually manufacturing of data as it relates to contact information, right? Because you can take pieces and AI is really good at pattern recognition. But
So like enrichment? Are you talking
yeah,
about?
like, so if you're saying, oh, I've got this person's name, I've got their address, I want their email. Well, there are AI tools out there that will find an email for you, but many of them are created and they use pattern recognition to try and create that, but that may not be accurate. So you're wasting money buying that and you're wasting money trying to communicate. So again, data in this instance is really about you need a human to look at it.
Sure. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Jackie, coming to you.
Mhm.
Can you excuse me. Can you provide a few use cases and please frame them?
Yeah, I would love to. I happened to start my software and operations consulting agency the year ChatGPT came out. So what I do is I vet and review different software to help streamline workflows for organizations. My goal is to automate as much of internal processes to make things as easy as possible for you to grow your business based on your current resources. And a lot of people have failed implementing AI to do this. I know a lot of people rushed in. I don't know if anyone read the report from MIT, something like 90%.
Yeah.
The MIT NAND report. Who has read this report here, by the way? Okay, here we go. So it's the MIT NANDA report, NANDA. They say 95% of organizations are not getting ROI out of their AI initiatives.
And I think part of that comes to what Karen emphasized, that the data, maybe they're not collecting their data properly to begin with, or I heard a lot of the people who rushed in and built something, it was like an internal GPT for their company. And that might help save time. It might make it easier to find information, but if you're not directly leveraging your company's data to provide actual return on investment. The couple of examples that I really like, most of my focus is on industries that have been slower to innovate: construction, real estate, logistics. In construction, there's a platform called BuildPeer, and they found that a lot of the contractors and a lot of their employees only spoke Spanish or only spoke English. And to be more efficient, they created a platform that completely translates everything. So AI is great at language. It's built on large language models. That's what LLMs are. So that's a great way for construction specific platform that creates actual efficiency with their employees and for capturing their own data. Another great example that I really like, a real estate developer friend of mine, they hired their own internal AI development team, a couple of like AI students, and they created their own AI solution that they use to analyze all of their historical projects for real estate development. And they used it to analyze and find where their inefficiencies are, where within the construction project they could have saved a ton of money. So the way that they are leveraging their data is to help find where they can save money on future projects, leveraging their own data. But you have to have that data, and it has to be accurate, and it has to be organized in a way that you can readily use it for an AI solution.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the training and workforce development?
Yes, I think other than starting with the right data and organizing an API to get everything together towards creating your AI solution, actually coming up with what to do for your company can start with your employees. No one knows your business better than the people currently running it. And there's probably at least one person in your organization or who you work with that really loves AI and has been like in it from the beginning. If that person is interested in training the team, or if you hire someone, like one of us, to train on the technology itself and how it functions and where the limits are, if your employees can understand how it works, they are probably the ones that can build those ideas for how you can leverage your own organization's data.
This certainly needs guidance. I mean, everything from change management at the top. Somebody needs to come in, explain that, hey, really, this is the way to go, and let's adopt to this rather than being run over by it, right?
Right. It starts with leadership. I think leadership needs to use it first.
Absolutely.
Understand it, know that they want to use it, and then part of that change workforce part is getting people excited about it.
Right, and then somebody like you can come in and put the different pieces together and
Right.
paint the bigger picture and, implement it.
Right. Yeah. It helps to have some direction, but I think getting the whole organization on board, because AI is here,
Yep.
whether we like it or not. I think that a lot of the companies that find the best way to leverage it for their own organization are the ones that are going to benefit most.
It's up to us whether we want the T850 or T1000. Make sure that we block T1000. That's bad news. Anyway, Will, shadow AI is a thing. Can you speak to that, please?
To get our terminology aligned, I think by shadow AI, what you're talking about is sort of people using AI out of scope of accepted policy, using AI when technically they shouldn't. And I stepped out for a minute earlier, and when I came back in, I wish I hadn't stepped out. I came back in, one of the audience members was talking about the use of AI in public education, and I wish I'd sort of been there for the full exchange, because while some of my attitudes to sort of technology and general behavior in education are fairly old-fashioned, I think I'm generally quite liberal around students' use of AI. And what I mean by that, and the reason why I think it's relevant, is because whether it's a student in public education or any educational setting, or whether it's an employee in an organization, in a company, the idea of them having the self-discipline not to use AI to make their lives easier, I think is unrealistic. And I think it's the area of behavior around AI in an organization is not one where you can have a draconian unilateral policy of saying you cannot do this, because it is just unrealistic to expect large groups of people not to use AI to enhance their productivity. And so I think it's actually incumbent upon an employer, upon a company, to be as reactive and to be as accommodating and to be as intelligent as it can be when it sees the use of AI in the organization. You have to respond to that. And you cannot just say, under no circumstances can AI be used. I'm only speaking for my own company here. I'm sure there are certain sectors in maybe financial services, very, very high risk kind of organizations that operate in a high risk environment where what I'm saying isn't true. But the management philosophy I have, the company that I run, is that if I find people using AI, I generally try and figure out what they're using it for, whether it can be acceptable, and treat them, the employee, with perhaps a bit more grace than you might otherwise in other situations. So taking a strong arm command and control approach, I think, is not sustainable. Certainly in the organization that I run. And so when I find someone using shadow AI, I listen to what they're using it for, and I see if we can adapt our policies to accommodate it.
That gives me a lot of food for thought, and I'm pretty sure for the audience as well. I think shadow AI, if not controlled, could become a problem. So much so that even maybe at some point insurance companies may mandate that you cannot use shadow AI. Just like cybersecurity, you have to have all the proper cybersecurity procedures in place. Otherwise, if you're breached, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the caveat to everything I'm saying is this is the business that I run. I can only speak, which is a relatively low stakes business. I'm sure there are certain industries or certain activities where what I described wouldn't fit. I'm just telling you my experience.
Of course. Nate, do you want to chime in?
Yeah. So from my experience, and it ties a lot of these subjects together. Jackie mentioned the MIT report, which if anybody here hasn't read it, I think you should read it. Don't put too much stock into it, because the headline that you see is 95% of companies don't get ROI out of their AI investments. That's kind of a really wishy-washy headline to follow, because if you actually read the report, it's much more instructive and interesting than that. And in fact, what you should be doing, number one, to kind of bring it, like Karen's talking about is make sure as an organization, you're a data forward company. If you're the type of company that, when big data was the conversation that everyone was having and you started to get interested and serious about big data and managing your data, you're probably in good shape. When cloud became the big buzzword and then everyone was like, oh, what's going on with cloud? Well, then you had a data governance process in place. You got interested in data, right? When it comes to AI, actually, I think the value is for the organizations who look at the users who are the shadow AI users and really listen to them because they are the front lines. These are the subject matter experts across the different departments and different sort of lines of business in your organization who know how to use AI for your company. And so whether you've got it together enough to come up with an AI governance policy or not, it's the people who are like, oh man, okay, they're coming. Like, I can't let them see the fact that I'm using AI to really drive efficiency for my job, but I don't want to get in trouble for it. Then you should identify those people that are using that who understand where it fits in to the puzzle of your organization and build from that. And it shouldn't be top down. It should be bottom up, or at least it should be org wide, right? So here's the challenge. The challenge is, are you a change management sort of forward organization or are you not? And if you're great at change management, AI is going to be fun for you. You're going to benefit from it. You're going to get AI from it.
I think it's safe to say that you have to engage outside resources. You can't do this alone.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is I think there's a lot of naivete around organizations going, you know what? This AI thing is great. We're going to make our own AI model. I go, no, you're not. You're going to fail. Bloomberg already did it for us, and God bless them. They built Bloomberg GPT from the ground up, an actual large language model trained on Bloomberg data. They did a great job of it. And when they were finished training it, GPT-4 did a better job at the Fin QA benchmark than Bloomberg GPT did. But what they did was they showed that, look, it's worth experimenting, but existing tools and existing experts are better than trying to build it on your own. If your CEO is like, you know what, let's go through a build it and buy it process and figure out if she would build it ourselves or just go buy. We're not building it. Let's be good at what we do as an organization. Yeah. Let's not try to be an AI company. Let's partner with trusted vendors and experts and implement it. Let's listen to our people on the ground who are hiding using ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude from management and actually listen to them and go, yeah, maybe they understand how to implement this across the organization. And, so you really, it's, if you're a kind of organization that doesn't change and doesn't adapt well to change, it doesn't rule in a way that listens to, your full-time employees and your workforce, you're not going to do well in AI. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you are a thoughtful organization and you listen to the people who are secretly using AI, you may actually be able to provide value, return on investment, and drive a cultural shift that is going to be good. As opposed to bad.
Thank you. What needs to happen during implementation and how do we overcome roadblocks?
So I feel like Steve spent 40 minutes talking about this really, 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 really well. The only thing that I would really add here is very clear identification of a business use case. Right up front, really understanding what are we trying to solve for? Why do we actually think we even need this? And then I hearken back to the days when we were implementing any IT system successfully. It's not really different, right? You sit down and you say, who's going to take care of the care and feeding of the system? Who are the end users? And what are the tasks it needs to accomplish? And once you define those, and this is not rocket science. Honestly, if all of us were rocket scientists, every one of us on this panel would be retired and on a beach somewhere right now.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really about defining those three critical things and then bringing your organization through the change management process and identifying who are the naysayers, who are the people who are afraid, who are the people who are the early adopters. And the one thing I would also add is, as important as it is, and this is our experience, and I'm sort of on that cusp of the people who convinced CEOs 30 years ago that they needed a customer database and they didn't understand why they needed them. And so we went through the same exact process of, okay, now it changes how everyone in the organization works. And the most important thing that we found that made us successful was actually identifying the naysayers and bringing them into the fold and finding ways to actually get over their objections, because they're the biggest roadblocks. It's the naysayers. Yeah, I see Steve agrees. I'm glad. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, just that, and I think I said something along these lines earlier, that their naysaying is information.
Yes.
It's important information. Just like Lee's saying about the folks who are sort of using AI in the corner quietly. Like, it's all valuable information. If we don't judge it as bad and we just take it in, it's a game changer.
I have a question. So, I'm just asking. I don't know much, but I read a lot, and I'm a news junkie, and I see that China is excelling in AI very, very quickly because they have no restrictions. We have different platforms. Google. I'm just throwing some examples. Let's say Google, Microsoft, and others. Right? They all have their own AI platform and AI practice, a huge database, but they're protective of their own intellectual property. What the thought leaders are saying, don't let them merge. Let one platform talk to the other platform, share all their new developments. That way we progress much faster. That is not happening today. Are you in favor of doing that?
Are we all going to answer this? Steve, you want to start?
So I'm going to take it from a culture perspective.
Okay.
Which is that Western cultures tend to be less trusting and more individualized. So there is an inherent barrier to adoption.
And lack of trust.
Because of lack of trust.
Yeah.
Eastern cultures tend to be much more.
Well, that's not because of trust. That's because of communism. They do what they want.
Well, there's a more of a collectivist set of societies. However they got there, there is more of a collectivism. Sure. So there's a sense of acceptance.
Sure. Okay.
And I think that's a factor.
Okay.
China will eat our lunch.
Oh man, come on.
And here's why. So, you've got the Communist Party, but there's no nepotism involved there. It's not like, it's all inside baseball. China thinks in grand strategies.
Yep.
Belt and Road, 1949 to 2049. They're thinking in 100-year timescales. I'm pretty sure in the U.S. we think in quarterly earnings.
Yep.
We're, pardon my French, we're done. Okay. Their governance, and so their AI policy, their AI safety policies are much more progressive, much more thoughtful, much more forward-thinking than us. We try and restrict the use of the top of the line NVIDIA, GPUs, the H200s. They find ways to create reasoning models out of much less data in 3 generations ago chips. When you put them in a corner and restrict their resource abilities, they think their way out of it with smart sort of scientific research. All of the groundbreaking AI papers that come out are majority Chinese researchers. Like, if we think in the US that we're going to sit for much longer and win the AI race, you're wrong. If you want to see what the future looks like, and what looks like Blade Runner and Cyberpunk and futuristic, cityscapes, it's China today. We're never catching up with them. We need to figure out a way to play in and catch up to them, because, we've lost on it. I mean, they have.
So is the answer lifting all the barriers between different AI platforms?
We should work with them 100%.
Not them. I'm talking about within the U.S.
Oh, we're too protective of our IP to work together. But in an ideal world, we would adopt. So part of the AI policy in China is to work with the U.S. and all the other, leaders in the world to share research, share innovation. We won't do that.
Oh.
Or it might work out for us. Who knows?
Who's next on that? Anyone else? No?
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I mean, if the question is about government intervention in AI, I find my instinct is that it's hard. It would be very, very dangerous to allow AI to proceed without any kind of government intervention. What I mean by that is if we did an exercise now and broke into little groups and kind of sat in the corner and Taz, your instruction to us was like, just brainstorm outcomes from AI that could be really harmful and damaging and dangerous. I think we would come up with a really, really scary list very, very quickly. And I think that whether you believe in big government or small government, to the extent you believe in any government whatsoever, I think the role of government is to try and protect us as human beings from terrible outcomes. And so the idea of government having no intervention in AI, I think I don't agree with it, and I don't think it's plausible.
Karen?
So this is adjacent, I think,
Okay.
to where you're going. But I think where the rubber's going to meet the road here is around privacy and data privacy. Because if you think about where we are as a country, we've been up and down on personal information and personal privacy. And that is a really critical piece. So like the California Privacy Protection Act, things like that, every state is implementing now to protect us, right? And that thing about AI is that it opens that up. And certainly that collaboration opens it up even more. And so while I'm not sure how I would answer the question, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I think what we're going to see is where the rubber's going to meet the road is actually right here on data privacy and data privacy issues with our own personal information as it relates to AI and its use.
Thank you. Jackie, do you have anything to add?
I don't know if we need to really race to whatever innovations will kill us. I think we've gone really fast so far, and I think there's a lot we can do with the current AI innovations. I'm a sucker for automation. I think there's a lot we can do for just general automations that don't need AI. I don't know. I can't remember what it was called. There's a great Johnny Depp movie that kind of highlights the worst case scenario of AI taking over and killing everyone.
Transcend, right? Transcend. The name of the movie, yeah.
Is that okay? It's a great watch. It's I would love to.
Cinematographer knew it.
If anyone's seen it, I would love to debate the ending because it's hard to tell if it saves the world or literally destroys everything. So I think there's a place for regulation. Once we understand where it really can cause dangers or where there's fraud. I also think it might totally change copyright. As a thought. Copyright itself is, AI has all kinds of issues with it.
Thank you very much. This has been a wonderful event, wonderful panel. Thank you very much for your participation and answering all your questions. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so thank you for coming. Have a great night.
Anybody has any questions for the panelists? Welcome to them, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
You were the best one. I think we said in the order of
Oh, yeah. Sorry.